Bringing in an electric option so I can press a button and raise it. How rib beds can fail crash tests. Hello, this is my favourite bits of the Motorhome and Caravan Show. My favourite gadgets, favourite bits, favourite vans. And I'm going to be showing you this amazing gadget, which I think is an absolute game changer. I have a chat with Vanshades about some of the new exciting products which they've got coming out, and also I answer some of your questions which you post to me whilst at the show. Plus, I'll show you some cool ways of how you could extend your accommodation and improve your comfort. And I'm going to be showing you something really, really cool. So I think, and I urge you to try it. Let's start with a question which a few of you posed to me. What's your favourite van? What caught your eye? And let me clarify, people asked me this whilst I was actually at the show, and I was really quite touched that some of you came up to me, said that you were subscribed to the channel. Actually, some of you even gave me some YouTube advice, which I'm not quite sure I'm going to take you up on, but I'll come on to that a little bit later on. But first of all, what caught my eye? Well, a few things did actually, and it wasn't just fans. Something that really did catch my eye was the eco wagon, and not just the van itself, which really is quite special, as you'd expect, at over £100,000, but integrated into the rear of it, it's got a paddleboard inflator, which is part of the van, so you can pump up your paddleboard, or inflate your paddleboard, should I say, by utilising this device, which is connected into the back of the van itself. It's really quite cool. Now, I think this inflator in the back of a van is going to be really useful. I've got a paddleboard myself, although with my health issues, I've not actually been out on it this year. But another thing that caught my eye was electrics. Yeah, van electrics, not exactly the most exciting things to be looking at. And normally, they're not really on show because, like I've said, you don't really want to look at them. They're not particularly exciting. But this, in the bespoke edition, the VW Crafter, which they've built, I think this is really, really cool. The components are Victron, so they deserve to be on show, especially when it's got the lithium iron phosphate battery in there as well. Not really something you can do on a transporter because you've not really got that room to be showing it off, but in a Crafter, because it is that much bigger vehicle, it's quite easy to be able to put something like this on display. And it also means that that lithium iron phosphate battery doesn't have to be just 100 amp hour. It can be much, much bigger, and you can carry a lot more power in the Crafter. But I did do another video on that, so do check that out. Now, regarding my favourite van, now this is a little bit more difficult because, as you know, vans are very personal. If you're a long follower of the channel, you'll know that my favourite colour in the Volkswagen Transporter is the bay leaf green, and there's not that many of them around. But at the show, there were a couple. There was one which was made by Hillside. Now, not particularly the conversion which I particularly want, but the colour was right. And then there was also one by Westphalia in the Club Joker City. Not my favourite layout, but I'm going to come on to that a little bit later on. I like this bespoke Explore. It's got the Leighton Vans kit, sits on coilovers, and yet it's still NCC registered, as it was done after the registration. However, it's too low, so maybe Air Ride would be able to give you that lower stance when it's actually parked, but also it could raise it up once you're driving. But I've got another video on that coming soon. But also, the flooring in this isn't particularly something I would choose. And again, I like the Eco Wagon, the Expo Plus. It's got its self-leveling air suspension, its electric pop-top, the innovative tech which I've just mentioned with the paddleboard inflator. But yeah, I don't like the California bed which is in the back of it. There are many different elements of these different vans which, if they were mixed together, would probably combine and make my perfect van. But we're all different. There's 4 different vans which I've mentioned there, and one of them might be somebody's perfect van, another one might be somebody else's, but combining them all together might be able to give mine. So choosing my perfect van out of those was difficult, but I did have a perfect van, and it wasn't a Volkswagen, believe it or not. A van which I particularly liked the layout of. Still a good size, which means I could daily if I wanted to. It's under the 2 metre height barrier limit, so perfect for getting into some of the car parks which are going on a daily basis. It has twin sliding doors, and no, it's not the new VW multivan California concept. It isn't that, but hopefully there might be one of those at a show next year. And like I've said, it's not even a Volkswagen, and it's this. It's the Westphalia Jules Verne, built on the Mercedes Vito platform. I'm not saying I would buy one, and I know they've been around for several years, and I also know that you can actually get the VW Kepler, which is quite similar. But with a new passenger platform multivan, which is going to be released in the near future, this really did catch my eye, and it's something which I rather did like. So as far as my favourite van from the show, I think it might have to be this Mercedes. But it's going to be really, really interesting for these much smaller platform vans. A lot of the companies, the NCC approved companies, which are at this show, spoke to a few of them, and they've all got a plan B. But I also know that some of the other mass manufacturers of camper vans, they've not got the same plan B. It's a little bit different. So what is this future going to be like? It really is going to be really interesting to see. I can't wait to find out what's around the corner. But moving on to some more of your questions. And one of the questions which somebody asked me was, do you know any other YouTubers? Well, actually, no, I don't. And a bit disappointing, really. I have actually reached out to a couple of them to ask if they want to do something together. Because I've got a few good ideas, but unfortunately, I didn't hear anything back. But I have found one which is quite local to me, who've also got a similar channel. So I'm hopefully going to be able to sit down with them and have a talk, because it is going to fit in quite nicely with some of the videos which I've done recently. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they're going to actually come back to me and we'll be able to work something out and have a little bit of a chat. What's there to be frightened of? Why not reach out to me? We might have some common ground where we'll be able to make a video together. You might have seen my Fire Pit Campervan conversations. Let's sit down, let's have a chat, let's talk some campervans. I think it'd be really quite cool. And speaking of cool, and one of my favourite gadgets which I did see at the show, which you might have seen in the video which I did about the gadgets, and that was the Total Cool ice machine. An ice machine which you can get, which it runs off 12 volts. Absolutely brilliant and perfect for my, as I've just mentioned, the Fire Pit Campervan series. To have some ice to be able to keep in my cool bucket and put the drinks in there and keep them nice and cool, I think it's a fantastic idea. That was one of my favourite gadgets. If you haven't seen that video, do check it out. That was really quite cool. See what I did there? And another item which I rather liked was the Me Rider, still not looked up, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I think a bike such as that, the foldable collapsible bike, which is electric, you would be able to put that in your camper van. You know, obviously you'd be able to definitely do it if you had a motorhome, but you could collapse that up, have that in your van, and then you'd be able to get out to the local farm shops when you were picking up your food, your vegetables or whatever you needed to get, going down the lanes, going over the coastal paths on it. I think it'd be a really good idea. I also think it'd be quite good for commuting, and it's something which I'd like to try. So I'm actually going to reach out to a couple of people locally just to see if anybody's got one, because they are quite a small wheel, so I'm not really sure how they'd kind of cope on a commute which I might have to for work. But it definitely would be good for going over the coastal paths, especially now they've got the Adventure one, which has got the knobbly tyres, so they're not quite the road tyres. So the knobbly tyres would be very good for your gravels and maybe the beach. Don't know, not seen one on the beach. The Me Rider do one in my brand colours, the Staycation colours, which I think would be quite cool. So if I did like it, then maybe I would actually buy one myself. Who knows? Got to test one out first. Now onto this gadget, this really cool gadget which I really like. How many times have you been away in your camper van and you've got dirt in there, you've got sand, the kids have dropped some crumbs, and you're away for 1 or 2 weeks and you don't want all those crumbs in there, because the sites which you're going to be staying on are going to be having mice. That is just the nature of these places which you go and visit on the sites. You don't want to be having the crumbs and dirt and things in there, but you've not got your vacuum cleaner because it is just a camper van, so you've not got that room to be able to put that in there. How about this? This is the Bluetti Hoover, and this is really, really cool. It's a Hoover which has got a couple of different settings, and it hoovers up the stuff. It is brilliant, and it actually works. Now, I picked this up at the show, but before this, I had I'm not actually going to say the brand, but it wasn't a particularly cheap one. It was bigger than this, and it is in a different shape, and it's got a pull-out hose thing. You probably know which ones I'm talking about, but it just wasn't really very good. It didn't last for very long, and also when it did work, it didn't really pick up things. But this does. It's really, really good. Now, I got this from the stand, which was Power to Go, and Power to Go have got a lot of different power stations. They've got the Bluetti brands, they've got the EcoFlow and Anchor and other bits of equipment. And I had a nice long chat to them. We were talking about various different aspects and some of the pros and cons with these portable power stations and the benefits between one and the benefits between another one. We had a really good chat. Such a good chat, in fact, that I actually forgot to get any footage. So I am really, really sorry, Power to Go. But thank you for obviously chatting to me, spending that time you took with me. And hopefully, you know, we shall meet up again in the future, and I'll get you on film this time and we'll be able to talk about you a little bit more. But yeah, really do appreciate your time on the day, and I know you were quite busy yourselves because other people were quite interested in the products which you had. I'll put up a link for them down below. Sorry I didn't get you on film, but there's a link in the description. But if a small vacuum cleaner wasn't going to be good enough for you and you wanted to take a bigger device, then maybe you need some extra room. Now, something that's becoming really quite popular is these little pod type trailers. And in the Devon and Cornwall Transporters Club, there's actually somebody in there who's got one, and he's got a really, really cool van. He's been to a number of shows and he's won awards at these shows because his van and his trailer match, and it's really, really good. I will be doing a video on that very, very soon. Hopefully, I've not actually spoken to you about that, but hopefully you'll be open to having a chat about that. But there's other little pod trailers which you can get as well. At the show, there were a few options. There were these trailer tents, which, if you aren't aware, is a trailer that actually opens up to a tent. You don't really see an awful lot of these around. I was quite surprised to see the number of them which were there at the show. But they're certainly a lot better than they were when I used to see them around in the 90s and things. They've really come on. They've got all the mod cons in there now. But something a little bit nicer than that, you might say. It'd be like a mini caravan, one of these pods. But these pods are much more than just a fiberglass shell. They're like a mini caravan inside. Some of them have got fridges and the cookers and the hobs, and I've not actually seen one with a toilet, but they've got the mod cons in there. Some of them have just got a sofa and a TV. Some of them have got a bed as well. So you can get a lot of things in there, and they're not a great big unit which you're towing along with you. Now, personally, I really like this one, although you might have to be a bit careful about what colour van you've got, because this is pretty bright. This certainly is very shouty, and that is the Tab 400, I think it is, and I had a little walk around that. So let's have a look what I thought of that. So inside you can see the design, fantastic lovely stripes. I do like that, which is matching the colour scheme which you've got on the outside of the van. And then inside you've got this nice big space. You've got a bedroom in there. You've got a full size fridge. You don't even get that in some similar sized camper vans. It's got a 3-burner hob and it's got storage. Look at that for a storage area. Nice big storage area with your electrics in there as well. And look at this. You've got a toilet with a port window and a shower, which is up, not down, and it's left, not right. Look at that. Beautiful. This is a really nice van. It's got a skylight on the top. It's really light and airy. Look at that lampshade. It's like you're at home. Now, another option, something a little bit bigger, something which really is becoming more popular with transporter owners, and this is evidence of it. This is a Swift base camp with the VW logo on the back, which somebody's put on there. And they are becoming more popular with VW owners. And again, I saw one at the show and he had a little walk around. If you're looking for a bit of extra storage, a bit of extra sleeping area, just a bit of extra place to just get rid of the kids, then maybe a Swift base camp is for you. Now, this is the Swift base camp 2, so it's only a 2-berth. But look at this inside. This is a really nice quality interior, and it's very, very similar, as you can tell, as it's been made by Swift, to the Swift Monza campervan, which we've already had a look at. I really like the colour scheme in here. It is black and charcoal, or black and grey, but just the detail which is in here. And you can see that there's obviously cost saving because it isn't a full-blown campervan. Storage pockets like that, but they're made in such a way that it just looks really, I don't know what the word is. You've got storage bags above the top instead of cupboards. And then you do have some proper cupboards above the actual kitchen hob, which are quite deep. and can put all your cutlery in there and your cups and plates, etc. And in here you've got a wardrobe, and then you've got the heating system, the electrical system, and you've also got the table as well. It's got a whale heater, and then it's got a touch panel which you can see there, which will do everything which you need, show you all your settings, etc. And then in here you've got a bathroom, a sink, toilet and a shower. What more could you want? So these small caravans, they come in different berths. I think it's 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, or there might not be a 5, but there's a 6. I don't know. I've seen them down at Tamar Caravan Centre because they do stock them. And if you want me to, I could pop down there and perhaps do a video and talk a little bit more about the range, because as I say, I am seeing more and more of you on the Facebook groups actually asking questions about them. So they are becoming popular because it's kind of like a stepping stone to a proper caravan. Is it not a proper caravan? I don't know. It looks a pretty decent piece of kit to me. It's got everything in there. It is a real caravan. But towing isn't for everybody. Not everybody is, one, comfortable with towing, and also not everybody can tow because of the license requirements and things. So maybe a bigger vehicle, a bigger camper van like the VW Crafters, which I'm talking about, might be more your choice. Or maybe a smaller motorhome. There's lots of different options, and I saw lots of these different options at the show itself. But onto another one of your questions, and this was a question where somebody asked, why don't I have clickbaity titles? Why don't I have cleavage? Why don't I have bikini shots, bums out and things like that? Make them much more clickable. But to be honest with you, I don't really think I've got the figure for that. I don't think it'd really attract many views, but you know, maybe it's something I could potentially try. So thanks for that advice. Something for me to bear in mind. And I was also asked, am I on my own? And yes, I am on my own. I am the planner, the script writer, the videographer, the location, the wardrobe, the editor. Yeah, I kind of do it all myself. There is nobody else. Yes, I've got the support of my family, but as far as the actual work into this, it is all my own work. It is what I do myself. I've not got any help. And you also asked, would I do some adventures? And I did actually have some planned for this year, but unfortunately my heart problem got in the way of that. So for next year already, I've got 2 big adventures planned. Really, really exciting things which I'm looking forward to, and possibly a third as well. So yes, I will be doing adventures, but I'm also going to be featuring other things, not just the big ones, but I'm also going to be kind of getting out there, out and about, showing you how I do things with the products which I've got. I've talked about the solo stove, so I'm going to show that in a little bit more detail, show it actually in action, maybe some people around it having a chat, hence what the Fire Pit Campervan Conversations is. But going out to the beaches, showing you some of these beaches. There's some pretty special places down here in Devon and Cornwall. We are very, very lucky to live where we live. So yes, I'm going to be going on some more adventures, seeing these places and taking you with me. And maybe you get some ideas of where you could potentially go yourself. Anyway, do you want to see something really, really cool? Something which I personally think is cool. Make sure you're viewing this video now. Turn your phone or your iPad or whatever so you can actually see the thumbs and all that kind of stuff. And watch this. Keep your eye on it. Please, if you like this video, press the like button. Do you see that? Did it twinkle? Did it do anything? I think that is really, really cool. Now, if you press it, look what it does now. I know, simple things, eh? But I really, really like it. And the same happens if I say, if you do like the content which I'm producing, then please do subscribe to the channel. Did that do it as well? Sorry if it didn't. I know it's not been pulled out everywhere, but I think that's really quite cool. So if you do like it, then obviously do give it a like. And if you don't, then put a comment below and tell me why you don't like it, because I'm bringing this content to you for you. And I want as many of you to like it as you possibly can, not physically pressing the like button, but just actually enjoy watching it. I want you to be getting the benefit out of it. And I know a lot of you are. A lot of you spoke to me about it and said how much you enjoyed it. You liked my passion, the way I came across, because I'm obviously quite enthusiastic with the way I talk about it, giving me stories on how it actually helped you, how you'd done certain things because of what I'd said. And one of you even told me something which I shouldn't be really pleased about, but at the same time I actually am. Now, I did the video about crash tests and how rib beds can fail crash tests. Now, somebody actually came up to me and said, following that video, they went and actually checked out their rib bed and it was fitted with penny washers. Like I'd said in the video, it wasn't fitted properly. These beds aren't being fitted properly. That was done by a professional converter and they hadn't used the correct materials to fit it, the correct plates to ensure that it's actually going to be safe in that vehicle. So I do urge you, make sure that you actually check it. I actually, since that, I spoke to an MOT station and they said that it is actually quite common that they do see these vehicles coming in and they haven't been done properly, but it isn't an MOT fail. It will still pass an MOT. Just because it's MOT compliant, it doesn't mean that it's been fitted properly and it's safe. So please do check that out. Obviously, you've got your loved ones in the back of there and you want to make sure that it is safe. So make sure that that bed has been fitted properly. So thanks for those of you who came up to me. I really do appreciate it. Hearing your positive stories really does make it all worthwhile. I do run this channel at a financial loss and it is taking up a lot of time in the weekends and the evenings, but I do it because I know it is bringing benefit and I do really enjoy making the videos. They are really quite fun to do. But anyway, back to my favourites. And one of my other favourites was the Dometic Cool Box. Now the Dometic Cool Box, not only again was it in brand colours, so it really appeals to me, but I think this is a great product. Who doesn't like a cold drink in the summer, or even just keeping your milk from going off so you can have a nice cup of tea or a nice cup of coffee? I think this is going to be coming to my van really soon. But because it doesn't run off electricity, it means it's not going to be draining your battery, but it probably also means that it might not keep things cool just as long. So maybe I could do a test on that. Although with it being winter, that's probably not great because obviously the ambient temperature is going to be quite low. But it could be a good test, because if you think about it, that your fridge in your van in the winter, which is powered by your battery, which is topped up by your solar, isn't probably producing the energy from the solar panel to charge your battery as much as it would do in summer. So it might not actually be a bad test to do anyway. Maybe I need to get that cool box and do the test. And moving on to something which I really always like when I go to these shows, not only because it looks cool, but because of the smells. And that's when you go to the demonstration stands for these kadaks and other cooking things. They've got these stands where they've got the chefs which come over and they cook this beautiful food. It's got all these beautiful aromas. Obviously, they're trying to sell the product, but these products really do work. The kadak, you might have seen before. I've loved them, really do like them. I've got a number of items in the range, but I'm going to be bringing you another video soon, which is going to be cooking, but not using a kadak. And that is going to be really, really fun. Not done it yet, no idea how it's going to turn out, but that is going to be cool. But yeah, I really enjoy that at the show. And also, they've also got other stands at the show where they've got these different foods which you can test out, and they show how they're doing things. And yeah, the show is really good. If you've not been to the NE show, Motorhome and Campervan Show, or the Campervan, Caravan and Motorhome Show, which is the one in February, do get yourself to it. They're really good. It gives you some inspiration, some ideas of some of the products which are out there, which you could be using in your van, or obviously spending more money on getting a van, a bigger van maybe, or some extra accommodation with the pods and the Swift base camps and things like that. There's lots of things at these shows. They're really good. I genuinely really love coming to the shows. But another question which I got at the show was, have I learned to skateboard? And no, it is still there. I've never skateboarded in my life. Yeah, I think it'd be really cool to do, but actually at the same time, not particularly sure it'd be a really good idea. So maybe that is the best place for my skateboard. Although at the show I did see the 2 bare feet ones, the longboard ones, which I think they're really quite cool as well, and not a bad price. Do check them out online because they're actually quite a good product. But I think if I was getting a skateboard and I was actually really going to be riding it, I think I'd like to get an electric one. Don't worry, I'm not going to be getting one, but I love them. These X-Way boards, you might have seen them online. They can actually go on beaches and rough gravel surfaces. You've got 2-wheel drive, you've got 4-wheel drive. They're really good. You know, you can imagine going along the southwest coastal paths and across the beaches and up hills and you're not having to expend your own energy using these skateboard, I think that'd be really cool. Although I'm not sure of the legality of it, so maybe don't do that, because that might electric powered skateboard, is that illegal? Yeah, I think it might be. But if you're on private land, if you own a private beach or you own a private coastal path, then I think that would be really cool. I'd love to give that a go. A couple of years ago, or actually quite a few years ago, I was always quite keen on trying kite surfing. You know, where you've got the big foils and you're on the beach and you've got essentially the same kind of board with the big chunky tyres, and the kite pulls you across the beach. I always fancied doing that, but I think it just might be a bit too dangerous, because these foils are really quite heavy, and if it came down then it might hurt somebody. So maybe just completely scrap that idea and stick to building sandcastles instead or something. Anyway, regarding another product, or should I say products, you might have seen in another video which I talked about essential items, and that was Vanshades. Now Vanshades, you may well have in your van already, because they're the thermal blinds, which they are the brand which a lot of people do have. They come in lots of different colours and things like that. And I actually saw at the show Vanshades, and I spoke to the managing director Jack and asked him about what he thought of the future, what new products which he's got coming out. So let's have a look at the conversation which I had with Jack. Today I've actually been joined by Jack from Vanshades, and we're going to be talking about the different products which he's got in his lineup. So, hello Jack.
Hi Steve.
Tell me all about the future. What have you got planned for Vanshades?
Sure. So at Vanshades, we're known for privacy solutions in campervans, specifically the T5, T6 and Ford Transit Custom market. So we're looking at branching out into different vehicles. We've got a few products on the way. The Renault Traffic, the new Ford van, which is dropping at the end of this year, as well as another system which is going to be sort of universal for several applications. As well as that, we've been focusing on storage solutions. We have the ChairPod storage system, which you may have seen. We're doing a door panel storage system. We do a locate table. So we're looking to just continue to modernize the campervan industry, and hope to bring some really nice, new and exciting products to the industry as well.
So as far as your actual product's concerned, they're not just a case of it's just a grey or a charcoal or an anthracite. You can do lots of different things, can't you?
Yeah, so we've always been about choice at Vanshades. Curtains come in grey and black. Our products will always be offered in colour. We believe that a campervan is a nice place to be. It should be a vibrant environment and somewhere that you want to spend a weekend or a week. So, you know, we're always offering more and more choice to our customers, and that will continue through our upcoming products as well.
So you've obviously got a lot of different colours on display here. If I came to you and said, actually, I've got a purple van, and looking at your colour charts, I don't think you've got a purple. Could you produce a purple?
Yeah, so we do have a purple blind colour, slightly purple, called lavender. But for example, one of the newer products that we've got in our range at the moment is Winterpod Spectrum. So the Spectrum Signature range, the frame itself is available in any colour you like. There's 212 RAL colours available. They're all painted and sprayed in-house with a soft touch rubberized coating. So the actual frames now, we're seeing in the industry that there is some parts of the industry that are trying to move away from the carpeted vehicles and be more akin to the Caravelle, the Shuttle, Tornado for the Ford, for example. So we're now offering window pods as a painted soft touch system, which is available in 212 colours.
And if you've been walking around the various different stands for the campervans, you'll have seen that now it's not just this big transporter haul.
Yeah.
It's now crafters, and obviously the Man, which is a similar sized crafter.
Yeah.
Are you starting to produce the product for the crafter, which really does seem to be popular?
For years, we've been quite tied up with the VW and the Ford campervan and our system for that campervan. So we've always been asked for other vans, and we've always jumped to our customers' needs and provided a custom blind, so a blind to any size. But that's always just been the blind, it's never been in the frame, which the window pod, the pod is the frame. So we've got a new system, which will be on the market very soon. And this is a custom frame system, which can be made to any size. So the extruded aluminium frame can be made to any size, can be applied to any board in any sort of campervan motorhome environment. And it's easy fit with 4 screws on corner caps like that. And again, it's always available in many, many colour options, which we're known for. And yeah, that'll be dropping very soon. Perfect for crafter, sprinter. We've had a lot of Ducato interest, so yeah.
Excellent. And are you going to bring in a electric option so I can press a button and raise it?
We did try, as some of you may know, we did prototype an electric window pod blind system many years ago now. It's probably four years ago. It's not something that I can see us pursuing right now. The motors are extremely expensive, and it has various troubleshooting issues. So it's not something that we're interested in. And at the same time, Steve, when you're in a camper van, you don't have to reach very far to pull your blinds down, do you? So
I know.
it doesn't suit us right now.
It's just really, really cool. And you know what VW transporter owners are like? On the forums, a lot of people talk about it.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd ask, that's all.
Yeah, no, that's great.
How's the chair pods been taken off? Have they done really well? 'Cause
Yeah,
I think that's a really good feature in California.
Yeah, so the chair pod, again, the chair pod is our answer to the California chair storage. You know, it's about a third of the price. It's our own design and something that we manufacture in-house. So the chair storage system for the T5, T6, which is available on the tailgate currently, selling really well. It's a great product, and that's going to be available for the barn door in 2024 as well. So it'll be the T5, T6 barn door.
Now, some great products there, and one of my favourites there is that locate table. I've talked about that before, and I think it's brilliant because not only have you got a table in your van, which doesn't have to be hinged on the kitchen unit like it is with some of them, it's there in the side of the door, so it's taking up that what really is kind of dead space. It's in that dead space, and you can put it out and you can have it, so you can have your lunch, your cups of tea and your cups of coffee. But it also means you can take it out of your van as well, and you can have whatever you want outside your van. You can even take it away. You can take it down to the beach or into the forest or something. Yeah, that is a great product. I've always been a big fan of that locate table. But I've done lots of videos whilst I've been at the show talking about the best camper vans, talking about slightly bigger camper vans in the VW crafters, talked about toys, gadgets and essential items. So if you haven't seen those videos, you can have a look at those here. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you soon.